What's good, people? It is a day that we observe Dr. Martin Luther King's contributions to the civil rights movement. And it's great that we have this as a national holiday. Some people, like myself, are very fortunate to be off and not have to work on a day like this so that we can truly take an opportunity to acknowledge and to take in what this is all about. Dr. King went through a lot, talked a lot, and he was more about the nonviolent aspects of the civil rights movement. Unlike Malcolm X, who felt like, you know what, you fight fire with fire. I can't argue with either man's mentality at the time that they were going through the struggles that they were facing. For most of that time period, I wasn't even alive. So I only have history books, the internet, some firsthand accounts of family members who have expressed some of what they saw and what they went through. With all of that said, Dr. King was trying to unite us as a whole, as a race, a human race. This wasn't some pro-black thing. And I think that's where a lot of people today are lost and confused. He wanted all people to be treated equally. And there are white people who greatly appreciated this movement. And a great majority of them were the sultans of change. Now, if you don't do anything to try and be part of that change, it will not change. You can cry, you can talk about it, but if you don't execute, if you don't do something, it won't change. That brings me to 2018. If Dr. King were alive, how would he feel? What would he say about the world we live in right now? I can only speculate, and I think his heart would be broken. So you can say we've come a long way since the 1960s. This is true in the aspect of myself, people who look like me can get a job pretty much anywhere doing anything. We're allowed to have education. We're allowed to vote. I can go on and on and on about some of the things that have changed. But the overall treatment of specifically minorities in the last few years has been extremely atrocious. And it hurts my heart. I don't understand why we have so much anger and hatred and frustration. And I think Mr. King, Dr. King, would be hurting as well. It's just too much. It's too much going on. And I want to save this planet, all of it, the whole 7-8 billion of us who occupy it, but I can't do it alone. So I need everyone to take ownership, and you also have to hold people accountable. Accountability starts at the highest point with our elected leaders, and it trickles down. So you have to send the message up in order for it to come back down. And I'm not talking about any more protests or people standing and blocking highways and things of that nature. But something has to change. And it starts with those who support and put certain people in the positions of power. They need to wake up. And unfortunately, one reason they won't change is because their constituents, their peers, continue to line their pockets. So if it's not hurting them, why should they change? My answer is because it's the right thing. It's the right thing to do. If you don't have anyone to support you or to support your businesses, then how are you going to have this money? And I understand in the big picture, it would take a whole lot of people to not buy your products or services or to support you in whatever it is that you do in order for it to really hurt you in your pocket. I get it. And it's highly unlikely that that would take place. But it could. And you need to live each day as if that could be the case. So we all need to take ownership. We all need to hold ourselves accountable. Look in that mirror. And if you're completely good with what you see, then this message isn't for you. Because you're at a place where what goes on in the world around you does not affect you. It doesn't bother you financially. It doesn't bother your family, your friends, your peers. You're great. You're fine. You're at ease. And everyone needs to have that inner peace. But that same person, when something happens, and it will, I'm not wishing anything bad on you, but something will happen in your life, and you're going to need somebody who is not what you would expect to be there for you. You know what I mean? You're going to need somebody at some point. And the way that you've treated people, or the way you've accepted treatment of people, because you don't have to actually be someone who's doing something to someone in order to be an advocate of it. Sometimes you're an advocate just because you're not doing anything against it. Keep that in mind. At some point, you're going to need somebody. And the question is that individual going to look like me? And if so, is that individual going to be there for you? Are they going to do what you need them to do? Are they going to save your child? Are they going to save your wife? Someone else close to you? Maybe then your eyes will open. Until then, you need to look in the mirror. You need to really do some soul searching. And you need to consider what Martin Luther King's messages were really all about. I know it's long, but I needed to get that out. One love.